The writer and author BAO emigrated to this country from China when she was only 8 years old, and with her elegant writing has taught us about the people of her homeland in 5 wonderful books, the most recent of which is called The Middle Heart. Welcome to our program, and thank you for joining us here at CBS. What's it like coming to America from a culture so totally different, and you're an 8-year-old girl in Brooklyn, New York? That's got to be tough.
I got here on a Sunday. Monday morning, I was enrolled in PS number 8. Not only was I enrolled in PS number 8, but I got it wrong, my age. In America, you count yourself chronologically.
Right.
In Chinese, you're born 1 year old. And by the new year, you're 2 years old.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
I was born in November 3rd. So by the time the New Year's 2 months old, I was counting myself as 2 years old.
I got you.
So when I got to PS number 8, my mother said, "Tell the woman how old you are." And I went like this. And they put me in 5th grade. But I didn't know anything. I didn't know that they said, well, Chinese are kind of short, so maybe that's where she belonged.
Did you speak much English at all? When
Not a word.
How could your parents expect you to function in an English-speaking school?
Faith.
And the adjustments that you had to make just to understand what the teacher was talking to you about.
I think I was very lucky because I did not have a fallback position. I did not have any other Chinese except one other person in the whole school who spoke Chinese, but she spoke Cantonese, and I spoke Mandarin. We couldn't speak to each other anyway.
Of course, right.
So I had to sink or swim. At 8 years old, it's very easy. You learn in a couple of months. I could speak English in 3
Plus, you know, you just said something.
Yes.
You had no way out of that.
I had no way out.
There was no alternative, no fallback position.
No.
A lot of times today, young people have a fallback position, you know, and therefore they don't try as hard, and they don't work as hard as you must have.
Every immigrant, no matter where you come from, know that you have to make schooling your avenue into the American system and to the American way of life. No choice.
What about trying to be just another kid on the playground?
Oh, all the time, all the time. And I loved playing stickball. Do you remember stickball?
Sure, sure. We played that.
This and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Sure.
If there were no Jackie Robinson, I don't think I would feel as American as I do today.
What about the kids at school who were from Brooklyn? You were obviously different. Did they make fun of you? Did they tease you? Did they pull pranks on you?
But I'm sure that they did that. You see, I think you have to grow a thick skin sometimes. You have to go through, and you can either say they're after me.
Right.
Or you can say they're after the new kid in the block, and you just get over it. I think you're better off if you can possibly ignore that kind of stuff.
Okay, so in your mind, you were the new kid, not the Chinese kid on the block.
That's right.
And you didn't allow yourself to be overcome by paranoia. They're out to get me because I'm different from them.
That's right.
But rather, I'm just a new kid.
I'm just a new kid.
What did they do to you? What kind of pranks? Do you remember?
Well, I played, they told me to go home when I was running the bases. I didn't understand. Go home, sure, go home. I ran home. They got mad at me. I used to come across home base. So I got beat up. I got beat up. My mother and father took me to the police station because they never heard of such a thing, getting beat up over a ball.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought but I knew instinctively, if I told on Mabel, I could not go to school for the rest of the year, right?
Wasn't there one involving a chocolate bar they did to you?
Yes. They thought it would be very funny to give me a treat, and I got a huge, big chocolate bar. Unfortunately, I did not know there was such a thing as X-Lax.
Oh, God.
Yes, yes.
Oh, my God. Now, when you left with your parents to come here, your father was in the diplomatic service, if I remember correctly? You left your newborn sister behind in China because the family felt that you were not going to be in America permanently. You would be here for a short period of time and then return back to China.
Right.
So when did you first see your sister, your baby sister?
17 years later.
Oh, my goodness.
And at that time, it was not Kennedy Airport, but Idlewild Airport. And I was waiting for her to come down the stairs. And there she was, somebody who felt like me. You know that that feeling is blood, instant bond. But we didn't look alike. And she had on a raincoat. And this raincoat had pockets that bulged out to here. And I couldn't imagine what in the world My curiosity was, instead of hugging her, kissing her, and I said, what's in your raincoat?
What's she got in her pockets?
What's in that raincoat? Immediate sisterhood, because that's the only thing that you would do to ask a sister.
Right.
It's toilet paper. She said, did I realize they gave away free toilet paper in the plane? And so she, of course,
Well,
stuffed
because
it.
home they don't have the toilet paper, huh?
No.
You know what's curious to me? How can a country that doesn't have enough toilet paper plan to rule the world? You know, think about that for a second.
Well, now they have, I think now they have, but I think what they need to have is a sense of reciprocity that you were talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
A sense of grace. A great civilization is someone who can tolerate dissent. And until the leadership of China can be graceful, can allow people their thoughts, they will never be as great as China can be.
Why don't they allow people to dissent? What are they afraid of? I mean, don't they take a look at other countries around the world? I mean, the European countries, for the most part, allow dissent.
Yes.
Here we allow dissent. The Canadians allow dissent. Mexico certainly allows dissent. And we're not falling apart. We're not going to hell in a handbasket.
Absolutely
You know,
not.
we're doing okay.
Right.
What are they so afraid of, this leadership of this monstrous?
Don't know.
By monstrous, I mean
Yes.
this huge nation.
Right.
Of probably very dear, decent, kind people. What are they so afraid of?
I don't know. And this is, but unless they allow a political outlet and a political safety valve for their people of 1.2 billion, they can't possibly have legitimacy. Because there's no country that can be ruled today without taking into consideration the ideas of the ruled.
Exactly.
Reciprocity again.
And without allowing some feedback from the governed to control the government.
That's right.
And to seek redress of grievance. But they just don't allow it, do they? They don't get it, do they?
They don't get it. And I think it's going to be, until they get it, China cannot attain the greatness that really belongs to the people. Because I think there's a big difference between the old men who run it and the Chinese people. Today, we give credit to the old men for allowing the Chinese to prosper. Who is doing the work? Who is making the decisions day to day on the market? Is the people.
The people.
The people.
And especially the young people coming up.
Exactly.
Who are wondering, where is their future in this lumbering giant that refuses to come into the 21st century. I have to pause here for a commercial. We will continue with Betty BAO Lord. Her newest novel is called The Middle Heart, out now in hardcover across the land. The toll-free is up and running. Back with you and Betty as time permits after these messages. Lord, her newest book is called The Middle Heart, and here's George on the toll-free now in Huntsville. Well, I don't think here's dial tone now on the toll-free, and you know, folks, if you haven't heard live dial tone, you haven't. Your husband was ambassador to China during the presidency of Ronald Reagan and George Bush. Let me ask you about diplomacy when you're in Beijing and you represent the United States of America. Because, you know, our country and China, we've had some dicey moments over the years.
Yes.
So how do you handle this business of diplomacy when you represent the United States at our embassy there?
Because basically, I tell them that we're not so different. People are the same. Why do I write novels? It's because interest in characters. And characters are basically the same because you get a chance to live their life through their stories, and then you can see we're not so different. You want to make a living? I want to make a living.
Right.
You want to have an education for your family? I want to have an education family. Just, you know, I think today in America and perhaps in the world, we make so much of what separates us.
The differences.
And really, it's the keepers of our common humanity that are really important.
You know, when I was a young man, I was assigned by Westinghouse Broadcasting to go to Vietnam and accompany the governor of Pennsylvania on a fact-finding trip. You know, one of these...
Scranton?
Governor Scranton, that's correct, William Scranton. And it dawned on me over there that the people who were living in Vietnam didn't care who ran the country, but they wanted 2 water buffalo instead of 1, okay? They wanted a real roof over their head, not a thatched one that fell apart in the monsoon season.
That's right.
They wanted clean water, not dirty water. And they didn't care which political system gave it to them. They wanted this for their families, for their health, and for their well-being. Well, that's pretty much the same as you say all over the world, isn't it? Yeah. Here is Patrick on the toll-free now in Philadelphia, PA. Hi, Patrick. Welcome to CBS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Snyder. Betty, how do you feel about today's immigrants coming into the United States and revert back to their native tongue rather than blend in with the English language? I myself am an immigrant, and I feel that the immigrants today refuse to blend into society by blending in with the English language.
I think it depends on where you live. I think for me, I was lucky. I did not move into another immigrant community, so I was forced to sink or swim. Today, because of economic or social reasons, a lot of new immigrants live together. And then the process of becoming an American takes longer because you have fallback positions.
Right. I understand.
You can find somebody who can speak Chinese with you. Why should you try to learn to speak
Patrick, how have you seen this evidenced in Philadelphia? Because I lived there for a time, as you know, and I thought the people who had come to Philadelphia from the European countries, Hispanic countries, really made an effort, and this goes back to the 60s now, my friend.
Well, that's quite true, but we have in Philadelphia now, we have a large Spanish-speaking group of people, and very, very few of them make the effort to really blend in by learning the English language.
It's unfortunate because they're depriving themselves of a great deal of communication with the American people.
Whereas the Oriental and the Asian immigrants, who are much more recent than the Spanish-speaking, and they are blending in very, very quickly and learning the English language very, very quickly.
You know, I don't want to be draconian here, but I wonder what would happen if we didn't print ballots and other stuff in Spanish in this country.
Well, I find...
I mean, I wonder if we're not giving them a fallback position.
Well, we do, because I worked as an administrator in a medical center, and we had to print the forms in Spanish and in English. And we did not have them done in any other language, and I had to interpret in 3 different languages for anyone coming into the hospital that didn't speak English or Spanish.
Great point, Patrick. Thanks for calling us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Enjoy your show.
Okay, thanks
Betty,
for
thank
watching.
you.
Sir. I beg your pardon?
Thank Betty very much. I enjoy her work.
Well, you can thank her
very
yourself. She's right here.
Betty, thank you very, very much. Bye-bye.
All right, good night, Patrick. Back with more of you on the toll-free line, along with Betty BAO Lord, author of The Middle Heart, after these messages. Elaine in Mohegan, New York. Hi, welcome to CBS.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Elaine.
It's a great show.
Thank you.
I watch it every night.
Thank you. We're doing the best. We're doing the best we can here.
I would like to ask Mrs. Lord.
Go ahead.
Does she still have any family back in China?
Yes, I do. All my family except my parents and my sisters. They're all back in China.
And how often do you go?
I have not been back since Tiananmen Square because I just don't want to go back there until I can feel that I can say what I want to do. And if I get on the plane, that the people I've talked to and heard from, they'll live their lives. They're not going to be suddenly pulled off somewhere.
Yeah, you worked for CBS as a consultant. You were Dan Rather's translator during Tiananmen Square.
Right.
What was your reaction to all of that, the way it was handled?
Incredible. It changed my life. It changed my life. The cameramen who went into the square, these are people who have covered everything, wars, everything.
Sure.
They came back every night. They had tears in their eyes. There was something very, very special about what would happen. One night I was there. The whole place was filled with people. And there were blind men and women going, we're going to stop the tanks. We'll lay our bodies in their path.
Who can ever forget that one brave person, remember, who jumped up on the tank?
We don't know where he is. We don't know where he is. Yes.
Elaine, any other questions or comments?
No, I just love your show, Tom.
Thank you.
And like I said before, you can bring Mrs. Lord and James Garner. You can come to my home anytime.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Elaine. Well, we may take you up on that, and thanks for your kindness to us.
Thank you very much, Tom.
All right. Good night now.
Good night.
When you were with your husband in China, and there would be a big dinner party, the business of deciding who sits with whom.
Oh, I hated that. I hated that. So what I did was to have a table with the year of dragon, the year of the pig. What year are you? Do you know?
This is the year preceding. Are we still in the year of the pig? I know the new year.
No, we're now the year of the rat.
The rat, okay.
Yes. I'm the year of the tiger. So everybody's born under a certain
Oh, I got
animal.
you. Okay.
So I would name the table, the dragon table, the tiger table, the boar table, and I said, the gods placed you in that seat, and so nobody could complain. But if I didn't do that, everybody would be sitting next to the same person for 4 years.
God, awful.
For 4 years.
Who decided what animal is in what year?
Oh boy, I don't know.
That was a long time ago,
That's
right?
a long time. Who decided what Arius was, and I guess something have to do with the stars.
Yeah, that was astrology, and
Yes.
the calendar was Pope Julius. We have the Julian calendar, I believe, but like there'll be another year of the rat sometime, and there have been other
Every
years.
12 years.
Oh, okay. So there are 12 lucky animals, and
Yes.
this is the year of
It's
the
like
rat.
12 months,
You
but
know,
it's only years.
we wondered if maybe Babe the movie was so popular because last year was the year of the pig.
That's
Anyway, you're a delight to meet in person. I've read 2 of your books and enjoyed them greatly, and I thank you for joining us here at CBS.
Thank you very much for
and
having me.
continued good luck and success to
Thank you.
The guest is Betty BAO Lord, and the book is called The Middle Heart. We'll be right back to wrap for Thursday after these messages.